Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and welcome to the BoxHard Podcast.
Hello, everyone. This is Mikey Garcia.
It's the monster from the swamps, Regis Rougarou Prograis.
Hey, what's up? This is King Carlos Molina, former IBF world champ.
This is Michael, the Bounty Hunter, 2012 Olympian and your people's champ.
This is Charlie Edwards, flyweight champion of the world.
This is Fast Eddie Chambers, and you're listening to the BoxHard Podcast with my main man, Joey Coastman.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 303 of the BoxHard Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Coastman. I'm joined as ever by Mr. Fast Eddie Chambers, the former heavyweight world title challenger. Eddie, how you doing, my friend? And like I say, welcome to the show once again.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. Enjoying life, even though it's hard on me right now because I'm working so much, but loving it all.
Loving it all. And like we say, this episode is sponsored by Manscaped, which is quite a cool thing. We've linked up now with Manscaped, the below-the-waist grooming company. We will get to that later on in the show. Very exciting link up for myself and Eddie. But before we get into all of that stuff, let's start with the review part. We're going to start here at the Malavich nightclub in Ukraine. Over here, heavyweight Andrei Rudenko, now 34-5. A technical decision in the 8th and final round against Andrea Pese, who's now 7-13. He won pretty much every round, Rudenko. Again, it's a guy who hasn't been stopped. It's a guy who I believe should be in with a prospect, I think. I think that's probably what he's hanging around for, one last payday. Moving out now to the Castleton... the Castleton Banquet and Conference Center in New Hampshire, USA. Over here, Evan Holyfield, now 7-0, a TKO in round 3 against Augustin Cicero, who's now 16-19 with 3 draws. Cicero down 5 times in those 3 rounds. Moving out now to the Matchroom HQ Garden, Eddie Hearn's back garden in Brentwood, Essex, United Kingdom. This one was on DAZN. I think we should start with the main event. Let's give it the respect it deserves. Can Xu, the Chinaman, came over here boasting a record of 18-2. He was TKO'd in the 12th and final round by huge underdog Lee Wood of Britain. He's the new WBA World Featherweight Champion. Lee Wood now 25-2. Can Xu down in the 12th round from a right hand. I just couldn't believe what I saw. I mean, the punch selection, the punch variety, the footwork, the judge of distance from Lee Wood was exceptional. Can Xu down, like I say, in the 12th round as the pair exchanged hooks, and at that point I think Xu was just kind of going for broke, and he got back up and Wood put it on him and he forced the stoppage. Unbelievable performance. I mean, no one gave Lee Wood a chance. We all hoped he could do it, but it was like, we were kind of, I guess, hoping for the best but expecting the worst, and you'd be crazy to not expect the worst. No one saw that one coming. But yeah, what a performance. A huge upset. Ben Davison, for me, trainer of the year. It's just, we can end it right here in August. Or should I say, because this fight was on July 31st, we could end it right there. Ben Davison obviously led Billy Joe Saunders to the Canelo fight. I know that's not the highlight of his year, but let's be honest, Billy Joe fought quite well in that fight. But other than that, Lee McGregor to stop Karim Guerfi in a round, unbelievable. Josh Taylor to beat Jose Ramirez to become the undisputed champion at 140, and now this to lead Lee Wood to a world title against someone like Can Xu, who I think had the world record at featherweight for the most punches thrown. I think he'd thrown God knows how many punches in the fight prior to this, and he just couldn't pick up that punch volume. I know he was coming off some inactivity, almost 2 years out the ring, but Lee Wood, I mean, God, we're talking about a guy that lost to Jazza Dickens. It's unbelievable how boxing works, and once again, we're going to be speaking about it later on in the show. Kid Galahad, a guy who, beat Jazza Dickens 8 years ago, and since then he's managed to get one shot at a world title, and it was against Josh Warrington. He lost. It could have gone either way, but he lost. And he beat Jazza Dickens 8 years ago. He stopped him. Jazza Dickens beat Lee Wood, and yet Lee Wood has become a world champion before either of those guys. It is unbelievable. And a great thing as well, this fight ended 20 minutes before Lee Wood's birthday. So at midnight, he turned, I'm not sure how old he turned, but it was his birthday 20 minutes after the fight. I mean, what a birthday present for him. And I was refreshing his Twitter page every second, and the followers were just shooting up. And he only had 6 weeks' notice. I cannot put into words how proud I am of Lee Wood. And Britain gain another world champion pretty much out of nowhere. And we're going to get another one this weekend as well, providing we don't get a draw between Jazza Dickens and Kid Galahad. But anyways, unbelievable from Lee Wood. I could talk about it all day, but I'm going to move on quite swiftly. Elsewhere on the undercard, Tommy McCarthy now 18-3. He lost a split decision over 12 rounds to Chris Billam-Smith. This one could have gone either way. Chris Billam-Smith now 13-1. It was for the EBU European Cruiserweight title, the Commonwealth, and the vacant British Cruiserweight titles. I said it on last week's show. I really thought this was a genuine 50-50. It really was, and at the very end, like I said, it could have gone either way. It was a genuine 50-50 on who was going to get it in round 12, because like I said, it did go 12. Chris Billam-Smith was bossing the first round until he walked into a huge overhand right in the last 10 seconds that staggered him badly, but he got through the round. All in all, though, a good fight. Both guys landed and took big shots throughout the fight. Both guys got tired in parts. On the punch stats as well, they showed them they were pretty much, the same almost. So like I said, the fight could have gone either way. Credit to both guys for giving it their all. Wouldn't mind seeing a rematch. Elsewhere on the card, let's talk about now Avni Yildirim, 21-4. He was able to lose against Jack Cullen. Jack Cullen with the unanimous decision win over 10 rounds there for the vacant IBF International Super Middleweight title. I couldn't believe that Jack Cullen was the favourite. He's got 2 losses, not to fantastic fighters. Avni Yildirim's losses, though, came to Canelo, came to Chris Eubank Jr., and the other loss has slipped my mind at the moment. But, Yildirim was a guy that was famous for his losses, and Jack Cullen was a guy that, is a solid fighter domestically, but not really on that European level, certainly not on world level. And like I say, he's got 2 losses to guys that are not world beaters by any stretch. So I couldn't understand why he was such a heavy favourite, but he was, and I was over the moon for Jack Cullen. Brilliant from him again. Another one, just like the Lee Wood fight. It was just a pleasure to watch. But I've got to say, Cullen, if he were to fight someone like a Eubank Jr. or a Canelo, he'd lose to those guys as well. So I really couldn't understand why he was such a heavy favourite. But Yildirim, I think he's proved it here. He is pretty useless, and I hate to sound too negative. Cullen deserves a massive payday next time out. After beating Yildirim like that, and of course the win before that against John Doherty, he is in tremendous form, and it's a pleasure to see. Elsewhere on the card, Anthony Fowler, now 15-1, a TKO for him in round 8 against Rico Muller, who's now 28-4 with a draw. To be honest with you, I think that fight took a little bit longer than I expected for Fowler to get the KO. I felt the corner of Muller were far too brave. They could have pulled him out 1 or 2 rounds prior to the eventual referee stoppage. Late notice as well, he came in, on short notice, Muller, and his last real kind of top level fight was down at 140, and he was up at 154 for that. Straight after the fight, they announced that Anthony Fowler will be boxing in his next fight former world champion Liam Smith. That's a brilliant fight, but he needs to up his game, I think, Anthony Fowler, before going in against Liam Smith. Liam Smith is a really good fighter. But yeah, that's another tremendous fight to look forward to. All British, all English, all Liverpool. That one there, so that's going to be a massive fight for the city. Elsewhere on the card, Sandy Ryan did end up making her debut. She's now 1-0, a 6-round points win against Kirsty Bavington. So that's good for her. Campbell Hatton as well. Now he's 4-0. Sorry, now he's 3-0. A points win over 4 rounds against Jacob Laskowski. I did say Laskowski would go for it, and it could be a tougher fight than some people felt. I put a little bit of money on Campbell Hatton to not get the knockout and for him to win on points, and that was what happened. Laskowski in his 4 losses had been stopped twice, but he went the distance again. So Campbell Hatton still in search of his first knockout since turning pro. Anyway, that's it for the UK. Moving out now to the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. We're going to fly through this one. Wow, oh wow. Andre Durrell with a TKO in 3 rounds against Christopher Brooker, who's now 16-8. Andre Durrell now 28-3. Brooker was down, like I say, 3 times there. A win on the undercard for Joey Spencer, now 13-0. A unanimous decision over 8 there against James Martin. Carl Dargan returned with a knockout in round 3 against Ivan Delgado. Delgado now 13-4 with 2 draws. Carl Dargan 20 wins and 1 loss. And the shocker on this card, it has to be said, the undefeated heavyweight prospect Michael Polite Coffey, coming off that excellent win against Damani Rock, got knocked out in 5 rounds by Jonathan Rice, who was 13-6 with a draw going in, now 14-6. A real big upset there, a real big upset. They were saying it was almost like Buster Douglas-esque. I could not see that one coming. I mean, he was like a huge favourite. It wasn't even close. He was, such a huge favourite, Michael Polite Coffey, that it wasn't even worth putting a bet on because the return would just not even be worth wasting the time of placing the bet. Moving out now to the Madison Square Garden Theatre in New York. This one was on Fight TV for free. If you missed it this Tuesday, just gone, a couple days ago, then that's on you. But anyways, on this card here, it was topped by Michael Hunter, now 20-1 with a draw. A TKO for him in 4 rounds against Mike Wilson, his former amateur foe. Wilson now 21-2. First time he's ever been stopped in his entire life, amateur and pro. It was for the vacant WBA Continental America's heavyweight title. Michael Hunter outclassed him pretty much from the first bell. An easy victory. It wasn't the kind of opponent that we want to see Michael win with. He is in the prime of his life, you have to say. And this is 2 underwhelming opponents in a row. It has to be said. Everyone knows that Michael's a friend of mine, but I will tell it how it is. Straight after the fight, he's now kind of calling out Dillian White, which is a fight I think everyone would love to see. But yeah, we shall see. It was the first fight of a 4-fight deal with Triller. So all the best to Michael Hunter, but a real brutal knockout to finish it, by the way. A perfectly timed right hand, and Mike Wilson was down on the floor. Blood was coming out of about 3 or 4 different places on his face, and as he was trying to climb up, the blood was dripping on the canvas. And he got back up, credit to him. When the referee said walk left and right, he gave it the old man walk, I like to call it. The referee did the right thing and waved it off. On the undercard, I've got to be honest and hold my hands up, I didn't watch it because I swore to myself I'd never watch a Mikel Lespierre fight ever again after his poor fight with Maurice Hooker. He's now 22-3 with a draw. He lost pretty much every round to former world champion Chris Algieri, now 25-3. All the best to him. I do like Algieri, a friend of the show. But anyway, that's it for the review part of the show. Just before we welcome our sole guest on this week's podcast, it's now time to thank our sponsor. This podcast is sponsored by Manscaped, but the opinions expressed are those of myself and former heavyweight world title challenger Eddie Chambers. Manscaped are a leading brand in below-the-waist grooming. A quick snoop of their website will intrigue you if nothing else. They offer products that would be perfect for yourself or somebody you know. If you're perhaps stuck for a gift idea, look no further. They sent myself and Eddie some products to try out, and they've got a whole range of different products, but I want to focus here on the Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. Now, this product is something that I feel is a must-have for anyone that takes their below-the-waist grooming seriously. Inside this kit, you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0. This handheld electric trimmer has its own stand that's used to charge the device. It uses next-generation skin-safe technology. It comes with a spotlight so you can see exactly what you're trimming. It's quiet. It has a power status indicator so you know how high or low the battery is, and it's waterproof. Now, I've used this trimmer and I have to say it is fantastic. It really is. I was able to get a close shave and it's left me looking pretty good down there, if I may say so myself. The kit also comes with the Weed Whacker, which is a nose and ear hair trimmer for those that like to stay on top of that. Again, skin safe technology with a 360-degree rotary dual blade. Again, this product is chargeable and has a long battery life. Also in the package, you'll receive what they call the Crop Preserver. Putting it simply, this is anti-chafing ball deodorant. Now, you squirt the lotion onto your hands, rub it together, and then apply it to your balls. This stuff smells amazing. It really does, and I'm not trying to sell it. This stuff is amazing to smell. It's quickly absorbed, it dries clear, it doesn't leave any white marks or anything like that. The final thing that you need that also comes in this box is the Crop Reviver. Now, this is a ball toner and refresher. I give it about 2 or 3 sprays around my ball region. Once again, this stuff truly does smell great and it leaves me feeling clean, comfortable and confident. I look good, I smell good. Now, those are the 4 main products that the Performance Package 4.0 contain, but that is not all. It also comes with disposable shaving mats. You stand on these and they catch all the trimmings for easy, tidy disposal. If you order this package, you'll also receive 2 free gifts, a pair of anti-chafing boxer shorts and a travel bag, perfect for carrying your Manscaped products. Please visit manscaped.com and use the promo code BoxHard, all one word, for 20% off and free shipping. And who knows, maybe you'll have people running back to your sack. But hey, just before we wrap it up, like I say, it's now time to welcome our sole guest on this week's podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the undefeated WBC Super-Bantamweight World Champion. It is, of course, Mr. Brandon Figueroa. Brandon, welcome back on the show. You said you'd do it, and just like a FedEx worker, you boxed and delivered.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me once again, and it's an honor to come back to your show.
It's always an honor speaking with you, Brandon. So just tell me about that win, man. Obviously, your last fight, picking up the WBC title, the belt that you told me you'd win. You were the underdog. I always thought you could do it, but it was a big ask. And to win by knockout was a huge statement in the division.
No, yes. Of course, that was the game plan. I know I'm not much to talk, but I like to talk in the ring. And, I know that my hard work doesn't go uncredited. And I feel like that's what was a difference maker that night, was all the hard work I put in the gym, all the dedication, all the hours, all the sacrifices I made, it really paid off in the ring when I used up all of my energy, all my hard work to, get them out of there.
And what does it mean, Brandon, to the Figueroa family? You and your brother both have won WBC world titles now. It's just such a huge accomplishment.
No, yeah, it means a lot. It just, we're just known to train and fight and give fans a good show, and I feel like that's what we stand for. Team Figueroa always comes to fight, and we're always willing to give these amazing fights.
And the one criticism, Brandon, some people just maybe could have had about yourself was that you didn't take the most difficult route to pick up the WBA title. You boxed Parejo for the interim. You got upgraded. You had the draw with Julio Ceja. We know he came in grossly overweight. At that point, people were not sure if you were truly world level. But this win, no one can argue it. I'm very proud of you. I was a little bit worried about you looking past Luis Nery because you already knew you'd be boxing Stephen Fulton. That fight was lined up, but no, you were able to stay focused, remain composed, and do a job on Nery. Let's talk about your next fight, Brandon. September 11th on Showtime against Stephen Fulton, your second undefeated world champion in a row now. Tell me your thoughts on Fulton and how you think that fight will go.
Yeah, he's a mid-range fighter. He's crafty. He likes to use his feet a lot. And I feel like it's not really much of a difference between him and Neri. They're both flashy, fighters that have quick hands. But I feel like Stephen Fulton probably has a little bit more to his arsenal that may give me a little bit more trouble. But that's why we're making preparations and adjustments right now in training camp, so that when we go out there, we're gonna stick to our game plan and come out with a win.
So, Brandon, you see this challenge as a tougher fight than the Neri fight, is that right?
Yes, because I feel like Stephen Fulton, he was present when he saw me fight Neri, and I feel like he has something, to watch out for. He saw me firsthand on how I fight, and he's gonna make adjustments as well, and it's all about who goes better straight to that fight.
And Stephen Fulton predicted that you would beat Neri. He got into the ring after the fight. He did the Jake Paul hat prank. It seems quite respectful between you both. Is that fair to say? There's no bad blood there as such?
No, it's just part of our jobs, to entertain the fans and give fans a great show, to hype up the fight, and he's been talking, so it's just a matter of time until we both get in the ring and we both hash it out, and it's just gonna be the best man is gonna win the fight, and that's why I leave none of that room for him to win, and I do that in the gym. I prepare myself so well, and I'm dedicated, and I gotta go in there and at 110%, even better than last time. If I want to keep beating these world champion fighters that are up there, and that these guys are not pushovers. They're world champions for a reason, and not only that, but it'll be great for my legacy. Beating Luis Nery, and then after that going against Stephen Fulton and coming out on top. I mean, that would just speak volumes as a fighter. So that's what I want to accomplish.
And speaking of, what you just said, really, like accomplishments and speaking volumes, your last three opponents have a combined record of 78-5. If you add Fulton's record to that, that's 97-5. That's going to be your last four fights. Do you ever think about statistics like that? Because that's crazy when I think about it. 97-5, man.
Nah, I mean, I don't really pay attention. I just see what's ahead, and I like the challenges. I love to earn what I get, and definitely this another fighting for my third world title is going to be a big challenge for me, and it's going to be a greater challenge come fight night, come September 11th. But I know with my hard work, dedication, and my preparation is going to take me to win that third world title and make history. That's what I want to do is be remembered in the books and keep fighting these world level fighters, these world champions that are going to make me better as a fighter as well, and that are going to help me grow to become a very, very dangerous fighter for the 126-pound division, which is what I want to challenge on next. And I feel like this is just another stepping stone to take me to elevate my game.
And as far as I'm aware, Brandon, there's been no announcement yet on the venue. Do you know when we'll hear something on that?
Hopefully, I mean, maybe in a few weeks, but because I know COVID right now is rising up again over here in the United States, and some places are getting really affected. So we're just going to have to see, I guess, where the manager and the promoters come together, and I guess PBC and try to find the best place possible, safest place possible for the fighters. So I guess it's just a matter of time. Maybe I say in 2 weeks.
Okay, we shall see. And you mentioned about the eventual move up to 126. That's an exciting thought. It probably makes no sense right now, but I would love to see you in with like a Daniel Roman. I mean, that's an unbelievable style clash. But obviously, the undisputed fight is there as well. If you were to beat Fulton, there'd be one other guy that holds a title or two titles, Murodjon Akhmadaliev. Is that a fight you would try to go after before making the move to 126? Do you care about being undisputed?
I mean, no. I feel like I beat the best of the division already. If September 11 goes as planned, then I feel like I beat the best in the divisions. I did my job as a 122 pounder. I'm getting older. I'm getting bigger. I'm getting more of a man muscle body type. So I feel like the 122 pound to me is already, it's getting a little bit more difficult to make weight. So I got to take that into consideration. And yeah, I mean, I would love to fight other great fighters. I mean, I called out that Danny Roman a long time ago when he had the 2 belts, and they didn't take the fight. I called out Stephen Fulton a long time ago. They didn't take the fight. So I've never said no to any of the fighters. I every time a fight is presented to me, we always say yes. We never back down from any fight. And I've been calling out these guys that are now world champions or that had the caliber of a world champion status, a long time ago. So I've never been scared of anyone. I've never been, afraid to get in the ring and mix it up with anyone. That's what, boxing is about, is getting in there with the best. And, I'm just happy that I'm doing so now.
And coming down to my last 2 questions, I almost called you Omar there, Brandon. I want to ask about Omar, funny enough. He popped in my head. What is next for him? Obviously, he had the setback earlier on this year. We spoke about it after the fight. You've won a world title here. What's next for him? Can you tell us anything?
Well, what I do know is that he's right now he's staying busy, in the gym. Getting back to the gym, staying consistent. So that's a thing that I see from him right now. On where he fights or when he's gonna fight, I really don't have any information about that. But I know soon if he does have information, he will probably announce it on his social medias. But apart from that, all I know is that he's been staying busy. He's been working as well over there where my home is at. Because right now I'm in California training. So he's in Texas right now. But yeah, I mean, all I could say is that he's putting in work and I guess preparing himself for what's to come, for whatever fight he's lined up to fight.
And that's all that matters, that he is staying in the gym. That is the important thing. My final question for you, Brandon. Couple weeks to go now, only 2 weeks. We get to see Spence Pacquiao. How do you see that fight unfolding? What's your prediction for that one, man?
I mean, that's going to be a great fight, Just to see Manny Pacquiao again is a privilege nowadays. So definitely going to be excited for that fight because I know Spence ain't no pushover. So it's going to be a tough challenge on Manny Pacquiao, but, I feel like Spencer might be too strong, too smart for Pacquiao. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, Pacquiao's he has experience, that grit to overcome a lot of obstacles. So we'll see if his experience and his speed and movement will be the great factor that's going to make him win the fight. So we'll see.
We'll see. It's a fantastic fight. And just finally, Brandon, before we wrap it up, if you've got any closing words to your supporters here in the UK, as you know, you've got a little bit of a fan base over here now. We stay up late to watch your fights every time you're on. A lot of people wanting and hoping for you to beat Fulton come September 11th. What's your message to those guys, Brandon?
No, I just want to give a big shout out to the UK. You guys are awesome. You guys are always supporting me and Team Figueroa. Definitely want to give you guys a great show, a great fight every time. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. You guys honestly show a lot of tremendous support, and I appreciate it. So thank you guys.
There we go. Those words from the bottom of Brandon's heart, the heartbreaker. Listen, Brandon, it is always a pleasure speaking with you. Best of luck for September 11th, and God willing, the next time we speak, I'm speaking to a unified Super-Bantamweight world champion.
No, yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, now it's time for part 2 on this week's show. This part, of course, the news part of the show. We're going to start here with a card that's been announced by Mick Hennessy. It's going to be at the Sky Dome Arena in Coventry, Friday, September 10th. Pretty much he's showcasing all of his talent, really. You've got Sam Eggington on the card, Isaac Chamberlain, Stevie McKenna, Shakam Pitters, River Wilson Bent, Casey Benjamin, Idris Virgo, Brett McGinty, Tommy Welch, and Mick Hennessy Jr. I don't think any opponents have been announced for that just yet, but should be a decent card with all those names on there. Elsewhere, we're going to go now to Sunday, August 29th. It's the Jake Paul, Tyrone Woodley undercard. On that undercard, Tommy Fury has been put on the card. So you'd imagine they're building towards perhaps a Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fight. We shall see. Tommy Fury takes on Anthony Taylor, who's 0-1 as a pro. I think he's been boxing in MMA, or not boxing, but fighting in MMA recently. And also on the card, we get to see Daniel Dubois. He makes his US debut. He's taking on a guy called Joe Cusumano. That's over 10 rounds there. And yeah, also on that card as well, another addition, not a Brit, but a good fight, I guess. Former junior welterweight world champion Ivan Baranchik. I think he hasn't boxed since losing by knockout to Zepeda. He's back against Montana Love, the unbeaten fighter from Cleveland. That's that one there. Again, it's going to be Sunday, August 29th. Moving on now to the Pacquiao Spence undercard. Again, August 21st. On the undercard, they've announced Yordenis Ugas making a defense of his WBA welterweight world title against the brother of Marcos. It is Argentina's Fabian Maidana. That's a co-main event there. Also on the undercard, the battle, I'm going to say this respectfully, I like both guys, but the battle of the dinosaurs, man. Former world champions Robert Guerrero and Victor Ortiz. I mean, it's a fight that could have happened about 12 years ago. But anyway, they get in there at welterweight. And also the unbeaten featherweight contender Mark Magsayo takes on former world champion Julio Ceja. Again, that is in Las Vegas, August 21st, a Saturday. And one final piece of news to mention. It's a bit of a weird one, I guess. It's taking place in Dubai, and the date is August 20th. We have a fight for the vacant IBF world title at junior lightweight, so at 130, and it's against, or between I should say, Kenichi Ogawa, 25-1 with a draw, the Japanese fighter who of course once upon a time took on Tevin Farmer and beat Tevin Farmer controversially, but then obviously the result turned to a no contest after Ogawa tested positive for a banned substance. He's back. He hasn't really done anything to deserve a title shot, to be honest with you, but he's back. He's obviously got a good relationship with the IBF. Back fighting for that title. It's vacant, but he takes on Shavkatzon Rakhimov. That's the guy that last time out drew with Joseph Jojo Diaz. A majority draw, should I say. A lot of people felt he could have actually nicked it against Diaz, so he's a really good fighter. I expect him to win that fight, actually, but that's going down in Dubai, like I say, August 20th. It's a Friday. But yeah, that's it for the news. Moving on now to the preview part of the show. We're going to start with a card that takes place tomorrow in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Over here, this one's going to be on ESPN+. I'm guessing it's going to be on, I think IFL TV still show this kind of content. On the undercard, I've got to say this might not sit well with some people here, but Sean McComb, 11-1. He was supposed to be in against someone else, and this is a late kind of replacement, I guess. Vicente Rodriguez, 39-6 with a draw. He's knocked out 21 people, this Argentinian fighter. Now, he's not fantastic. He's coming off 2 back-to-back losses, but he is tough. He's only been stopped twice in those 6 losses, and one of them was to Adrian Broner back in 2011, so it's been 10 years since that. The other loss by knockout came 8 and a bit years ago, so this is interesting. He hasn't been super active of late. He's only had one fight since 2016, so it's not looking good from that point of view, but I've got to say it, and I really feel bad for saying this, but Sean McComb in his last fight, a blatant quit. He was in the ring, exchanging with Gavin Gwynn, then he turned his back and literally just walked to the corner. He'd had enough. Turned his back and the referee waved it off. So I'm wondering if there's some, some what's the word I'm looking for, Eddie? Like, what's the word? You know, you quit in a fight, then you take on a puncher in your comeback fight. It could come back to bite him again. It could come back to haunt him, you know?
One thing about that, though, when you do quit, it really makes it hard to do it again. I mean, most people would think, well, no, if you can quit once, you can keep doing it. But if you're a person that has, how do I say it? Like, a little bit of I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word. Like, if you're expecting to win, you're not just a guy that's a run-of-the-mill journeyman type fighter. If you're expecting to win and you quit, it puts that pressure on you. I can't quit again. Like Vitaly when he fought Chris Bird, he messed his shoulder up, but he quit. You seen when he fought Lennox Lewis, he almost fought him like to the death. He was like, man, I'm not getting out this ring until I'm dead. That's how he felt, because he can't let people see that happen to him again. He was a proud guy, a proud fighter. So with this time, then going in with a puncher, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking that a guy like him at this point, after he's quit once, is going to be really difficult to make him do that again. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's in his heart, but I do know that it makes it a little bit difficult, because now people are going to say that, oh, they're going to label him like he's a quitter. You know what I'm saying?
We shall see, man. There's some people that would disagree and say once you've quit once, it's easy to do it again. We will see. But I like the fight. It's kind of an opponent change. It wasn't the fight he was looking for, and this guy can punch. So I'm expecting that to be quite interesting there, actually. Elsewhere on the card, Tyrone McKenna, 21-2 with a draw, takes on over 10 rounds Jose Felix, who's 39-4 with a draw. That one's for the vacant WBO Intercontinental Super Lightweight title. Again, Felix, quite a puncher, 30 KOs from 39 wins, 4 losses, 2 by knockout. Hasn't really boxed at a fantastic level of late, to be honest with you, but again, it's an interesting one, because Tyrone McKenna, I hate to say it, but he's not fantastic. He's not a big puncher. He's coming off a loss to O'Hara Davies last time out. He's been out the ring almost a year. I don't know, man. The fight before that, he should have lost as well against Mohamed Mimoun. We all know that one. So, I don't know. That's an interesting one. Again, I quite like the matchmaking. Also on the card, Lee McGregor, 10-0 with 8 KOs, steps in against Vincent Legrand. It's a defense here of McGregor's EBU European Bantamweight title. McGregor absolutely huge for Bantamweight, coming off that stunning knockout that I mentioned in part 1 when he knocked out Karim Guerfi in a round. But Vincent Legrand, 32-0, 17 KOs. A French fighter who, I've got to be honest, has kind of built his record up. It's a little bit inflated. We're going to go for his last few fights here. His last fight, he beat a guy who was 7-2 with a draw. The fight before that, a guy who was 19-28 with 2 draws. Fight before that, a guy who was 7-7 with 2 draws. Fight before that, 8-6. Before that, 14-29. Before that, 7-8. Before that, 6-4. It's not been great at all. He's got a very padded record, and the more I look at it, the worse it seems to be. I'm expecting Lee McGregor to get the knockout there and look pretty good. I don't think Legrand's that bad. I think he's probably better than I'm saying he is, but, I can see a knockout again for Lee McGregor, who seems to be on fire, especially under the guidance of Ben Davison. And the main event, Michael Conlan fights here for the vacant WBA interim world featherweight title. He gets in against former world champion TJ Doheny. Both guys are coming off a win not a win. Both guys are coming off fighting the same guy in their last fights. Obviously, TJ Doheny last time out losing to Baluta. It was a huge upset. It's one of the biggest upsets of 2020. Being a world champion and stuff like that in 2019, and less than a year later he loses to a guy who was 12-2. I think it was out in Dubai, that one there. But anyway, he gets in against Michael Conlan, who beat Baluta last time out, but he didn't have it all his own way. It's a fight I think certainly goes the distance. I think Conlan might just be a little bit too good for TJ Doheny, but having said that, when you're a guy like Doheny, an Irish guy who hasn't really had an easy career, I don't think. I think he's kind of had to do things the hard way, not with a big promoter behind him. And you're going in against this Irish superstar. I think that gives you a little bit more motivation. I think you think to yourself, this is it. I win here and I'm the superstar of Ireland. So I feel like, he won't be lacking motivation for this. I think he will really give it a good go here. I don't think he's done just yet. I don't think so. But we will find out in this fight, I think. I think it's a good fight. And I tell you what, Doheny to win that fight on points is an interesting price. Just like Sean McComb to lose by knockout, to perhaps quit again. Who knows? I think they're both interesting or interesting odds and worth just a couple of quid. Anyway, moving out now to the Matchroom HQ Garden in Brentwood, Essex. Once again, it's week 2 of 3 in Eddie Hearn's back garden. On the undercard, Ellie Scotney 2-0, no opponent just yet. Akib Fiaz 6-0 in against Kevin Baldaspino, who's 9-5 with 2 draws. We've got Johnny Fisher 2-0 against Danny Whitaker, who's 4-3. We've got Ebony Bridges, the return of the Australian sensation, 5-1. She is in I'm not sure how many rounds it's going to be, but I'm hearing it's going to be over 3 minutes against Beck Connolly, who is a bit of a journey woman, to be honest, but she's 3-9. She's been in with good fighters like Natasha Jonas and Terry Harper and a few others that I've forgotten at the moment, but that should be interesting. I think Bridges wins that one on points. Alan the Savage Babbage 7-0 against Mark Bennett, who's 7-1. That, should probably go as everyone expects. A knockout there for Alan Babbage. He's 7-0 with 7 KOs. I'm expecting that to be extended to 8 with 8. And another brilliant fight. There's no way in the world this one goes the distance. It's scheduled for 10 rounds. They do not need the judges, believe me. It's for the English heavyweight title. We've got Fabio Wardley 11-0 stepping in against Nick Webb 17-2. Interesting about Nick Webb, obviously had 19 fights. Wardley's had 11, like I mentioned, so almost double the amount of fights from Webb. But Webb has only gone at the very most, I think he's gone 6 rounds. That's the most he's gone, and it was only one time. Other than that, he seems to have the fight finished by the 2nd or 3rd round. He's coming off that excellent win back in March in Gibraltar against Eric Pfeiffer. Fabio Wardley in his last fight, he got the stoppage against Eric Molina, but he was hurt at one point as well. That fight, I think, doesn't get out past 3 rounds. I think it's going to be a bang-up. Someone's going to go there. Fabio Wardley 11-0 with 10 KOs. All the best to Nick Webb, friend of the show. I'd love to see him do it. I really, really like Nick Webb. Again, he's a guy that I don't think's had it too easy. And, we want to see him fight the Savage Babbage. And if he loses this, then that one's off the table, you'd imagine. So I'd love to see him do it. I think Nick Webb is a really good fighter. And I tell you what, he can. Well, he's not fantastic, is he? He's not a world beater. I'm not going to lie here. But he when he trains good, he's a good fighter. And his power's real. That's one thing. His power certainly is real. And the main event, Kid Galahad, 27-1, steps in over 12 rounds against Jazza Dickens, 30-3 for the vacant IBF World Featherweight title. The rematch 8 years after the first fight. The first fight was a really good fight. I remember Jazza Dickens, I remember watching it on Channel 5. Jazza Dickens was very much in the fight up until the stoppage in the 10th round. It was for the British title back then, and here we go. It's for the world title now. I think Jazza Dickens has improved massively since the first fight. I think Kid Galahad has been treading water for such a long time, and obviously he could have been a world champion against Warrington. That one could have gone either way. I hope it's not too late for Galahad, but I think Jazza Dickens, with winning the Golden Contract tournament, he is just riding a wave right now. He's in tremendous form. He's got a lot of momentum behind him, and I don't think he's going to get stopped. I think it goes a distance. I think Galahad overall might just be a little bit too cute for him, but it's an interesting fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jazza Dickens is the aggressor. I think that's the way it's going to go. I think Galahad's going to try and sit back and counterpunch him and stuff like that. But I can see it going the distance, and again, I could see it going either way. But all the best to both guys. You know, they've both been on the show before. I'm over the moon if Jazza Dickens wins a world title. I mean, honestly, they could possibly make a movie about his career if he does win a world title here. And as for Kid Galahad, he is a guy who's been full of promise since he made his debut over, I think, 10 years ago. He's been a pro for a long, long time. It's been such a stop-start career for him. To finally get over that hurdle will be massive, and it will mean a hell of a lot down in the Ingle gym as well. You know, he would be... you know, their only world champion at the moment, you know. Kid Galahad would be the guy kind of flying the flag in Sheffield, because Kell Brook, I don't think, is going to win a world title again. Liam Williams fell short recently against Demetrius Andrade. Willie Hutchinson getting knocked out against Lennox Clark. You know, it's all kind of been... bad luck for the Ingle gym, and this would really boost them up. The final card to mention takes place at the Armory in Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. Over here, friend of the show, Devon Alexander, 27-6 with a draw. He returns to the ring. I think he's coming off a loss last time out, a close loss, I believe. No, it wasn't a close loss. He lost by knockout in 6 rounds to Ivan Redkach back in 2019. So he returns after 2 years out against Lucas Santamaria, who's 11-2 with a draw, a loss in his last fight to Paul Kroll. Okay, interesting. Elsewhere on that card, Imantas Stanionis, 13-0 with 9 KOs. The fighter based in Oxnard, California, from Lithuania. Coming off a brilliant win as well last time out against Thomas Delorme. Very good fighter. He gets in against the crafty southpaw who has been going for such a long time, Luis Collazo. He made his debut back in 2000. So this is his 21st year as a pro. Unbelievable. So yeah, all the best to Luis Collazo. All the best to both guys there. It's over 12 rounds. Luis Collazo 39-8. Still providing tests for these prospects. It is unbelievable. And I've got to say a huge shout as well to, in my opinion, in my personal selfish opinion, the most important fight on the card. We've got Gabriel Maestre, who is 3-0. He was a really, really good amateur. He beat a hell of a lot of guys in the amateurs. He's 3-0 with 3 KOs. The Venezuelan fighter by way of Colombia. Like I say, coming off 3 wins in a row, all by knockout. He gets in against Michael Fox, friend of the show, 22-2. It's for the WBA interim welterweight world title. So Michael Fox moving up in weight for this one as well, even though he can afford to do so, being 6'3.5". He's coming off a loss though last time out to Lucas Santamaria, the guy that's on the undercard against Devon Alexander. So crossroads, but all the best to Michael Fox. He got the call on late notice. He's in shape though, and if he wins here and becomes WBA interim world champion, oh my lord, I mean, he could find himself being elevated. I'd love to see something like that happen to him. Really, really nice guy. I spoke to him earlier on this week. Didn't even know that the fight was in the works until the recent announcement, and I hope he's prepared enough for this fight, because, you know, he did get the call late on, and this guy is kind of being fast-tracked. He's supposed to be the goods. He was a great amateur, like I said. He boxed in the WSBs and stuff like that. So really good fighter, but we shall see. He is 34 years of age, so we shall see there. Really interesting fights all over the place on the weekend in Northern Ireland, in Essex, and in Minnesota. But anyway, that's it for the preview part of the show. The final thing for me to do is to come in with the outro, which I'll do in just a few seconds. Okay, and this wraps up episode 303 of the BoxHard Podcast. I've been your host, Joey Coastman. Eddie Chambers has been with me for the duration of the show. A massive thank you to our sole guest on this week's podcast, the reigning and undefeated WBC Super-Bantamweight World Champion, Mr. Brandon Figueroa. The biggest thanks of all, though, goes out to you, the listeners. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Manscaped. Remember, you can visit manscaped.com and get 20% off of your order, plus free shipping. But that's about everything from myself and Eddie. Enjoy your weekends, people. Stay safe, and we shall see you all again next week.